It's me again. Today's date is November 14th, 2022. It's a Monday.
Let me preface this by saying that this is not financial advice. This is entertainment. Hence, I wear a costume or you're not entertained.
Mmtlp had a very exciting day price action-wise. We closed out at, 840 or 841? That's our all-time high. It had a very exciting day as we still wait for S1A approval. We will know the S1A is approved when we see dates in it. The dates will be on the second page, as shown here. We will see some dates, then we know it's approved, and those dates will give us the finality to all of this. I think we're going to start seeing some new people come into Mmtlp. This is because last week crypto crashed and it continued over the weekend. There was this exchange, I guess FTX is ran by a bunch of younger people, which is fine, but is run by some young people. It over leveraged itself. And upon realizing how over leveraged it was, a couple investors pulled out. Binance made a non-binding proposal to possibly buy FTX. Binance turned around and noped out of there. And FTX just crashed. The CEO of FTX fled to the Bahamas. There was rumors, I guess, about him going to Argentina. I even asked on Twitter, I'm like, did this guy fly the coop to Argentina? I guess he's still in the Bahamas. And it's a whole mess. People are mad. People are wary. They're bailing out of the crypto. No crypto. Let's get out of here. Close shop. Closing it up. And you might be here looking at a bird lady going, tell me about this Mmtlp thing. What's this all about? Well, let me tell you, because I've been here for a long time. Mmtlp is a preferred share that's trading right now. And what's behind this preferred share is 3.2 billion barrels of oil and quite a bit of gas. The gas we're unsure about right now. It could be anywhere from 500 million cubic feet all the way up to several trillion cubic feet of natural gas. It could be anywhere in that spectrum. The gas, at least, is what we're waiting to hear for. There are some wells on the property that are ready for production, but the property is not currently producing oil and gas because it's still under the metamaterials name. It hasn't spun out yet. That's what we're waiting for, is the spin out into NextBridge, which will be a private company. According to John Berta, it's going to be a private company. John Berta is the former CEO of Torchlight who had these assets. Many people in this play are Torchlight holders like myself. This oil company, Torchlight, had the assets. 2020 hit. Torchlight said, okay, we're going to get rid of Torchlight, but we want to keep the oil and gas or Grande and sell it on our own terms. Metamaterials agreed to that. This is the result of the spin out. Mmtlp is not like a lot of other plays. One, it's backed by an actual physical commodity of oil and gas. 3.2 billion barrels of oil and a lot of gas, which we're waiting for some sort of PR about to give a finalized number. The calculated value, I've done many equations on this. The calculated value of that right now stands anywhere from $32 to $60, depending on the gas amount. Once we have a better gas estimate, I can get a more accurate estimate of price per share of NextBridge. The $32 to $60 isn't what you're going to get in NextBridge once it spins out. That would come from the sale of the oil and gas assets. And you will be given that most likely in a big oil company equivalent stock. It was always the goal of the Oro Grande to be sold. It was always their goal to sell this. Hence why I think that this is going to be sold shortly after spin out. The market's right for that. And even though oil is still at about $85 a barrel and gas is about $5 to $6 per 1,000 cubic feet, it's really interesting because America is going through a cold snap right now. Where I am, it's unseasonably cold. It's at least 10 to 15 degrees cooler than what it should be. Right now, usually around this time, we're in the 60s and we're in the 40s right now. So it's pretty cool. There's a polar vortex over North America, at least the central part of it. The western part of Canada is nice and toasty right now, but where I am, it's pretty cool. As a result, at least everybody can enjoy the heating gas for now. I hope this doesn't affect Europe. Europe is having shortages right now. I'll tell you what, there's a grain shortage. Combine this with the gas shortage. And even though the price of gas is down, lots of analysts are still saying, hey, gas is going to be in big demand. The full brunt of winter hasn't hit Europe yet. It's hit where I am, but I'm in Texas and it's not as bad as, say, like Oklahoma right now, where it's freezing. Or you're gonna get some snow today in Oklahoma. We had some rain here, cold rain, but in Oklahoma it was snowing. Okay, so there's oil and gas backing this. There's an actual physical in-demand commodity backing this. The- And that's the value per share of NextBridge. Not MMTLP, but per share of NextBridge, which takes into account the other parties involved. Next, MMTLP gets 66.5% of the sale. I've done a lot of other videos on this. Lots of calculations. I've shown the calculations to other entities and they nodded their head in agreement. Unlike crypto, FTX, which was way over leveraged, it had $9 billion of debt and it had $1 billion of assets. What a leveraging. MMTLP has lots of assets. We have 3.2 billion barrels of oil as assets. We have lots of cubic feet of natural gas as assets. Debt-wise, we have about 20 million in debt. Right now, 20 million in debt. That includes drilling fee loan we took out back in 2021, as well as a little loan earlier this year from Meta. Those are payable right now in 2023. More or less, when the sale happens, we will pay it back. $20 million is a drop in the bucket compared to the sale price of this much oil and gas. What else makes MMTLP different? Well, there's a finality to this because once the dates of the S1 are given, that's the finality to MMTLP. It's going away, it's going by. How it's going to work is you have MMTLP, that will be completely canceled, and you will be given shares in NextBridge, which is a private company. And as a result, any short positions will have to close because it's going private. This is in favor for you because there is a timeline. Unlike other plays in the past, there wasn't a finality to it. There is a finality. And even if you don't look at it from the potential run-up of MMTLP itself, I've always based my calculations on the oil and gas itself. And my personal prices come from the value of the oil and gas, plus the tax differences of selling in the run up versus not selling and just holding and waiting for the sale, getting shares in a big company and getting those quarterly dividends. The opportunity cost between holding and selling now is what I base my prices on. And my prices have changed. Originally, they were starting at 75. They moved up to 85. And now they're into the triple digits. That's my personal price. You're watching my own personal blog, my journal. This is just one bird's thoughts. Again, not financial advice. This is just what I'm doing. The difference in taxes and dividends for the first year, I said, you know what? Let's just hold to, triple digits. And it can be possible. There is only 165 million outstanding shares of MMTLP. The amount of short shares and borrowed shares out there can vary because there is no one definitive data set on that. But it's quite over leveraged itself. The only over leveraging here we have in MMTLP is certainly the shorts, certainly borrowed shares, which can be advantageous to you if you have shares and you want to hold in an NextBridge. Many people want the security of a quarterly dividend. I don't blame them. That's kind of nice. You just sit around and collect those checks. Some people want money now. It's a personal choice. So there's two parts to this system. It depends how you look at it. But unlike other plays, there's an actual physical commodity backing this up, an in-demand physical commodity backing this up. It's not over-leveraged, Mmtlp. And there's a finality to this. The finality is the date in which Mmtlp goes away. And you will be given shares of Nextbridge, and we will know that on approval of the S1. Hopefully that's very soon. Hopefully that's this week. Our previous S1 that came out last week, as I said, there wasn't many changes. And that's where we stand today. Texas oil and gas. I'm familiar with the industry. It's a physical commodity that you can hold. You can go hold that oil in your hands if you wanted to. Pump it out of the ground, hold it in your hands. Or you can go stand on the ground, stand above that oil. A lot of people will say things such as, why hasn't the asset sold yet? It's just for a lease. It's not for oil and gas. That is incorrect. It's for the actual mineral rights themselves. It's for the actual oil itself. It's not for the lease. That's a separate entity. I have a whole series of videos on this. Go check out my previous videos. I talk about it. You can always ask me a question or put a question on here. I'm sure somebody will gladly answer you if I can't get to you.
I'll also point to the fact that this was all discovered by essentially Rich Masterson and Greg McCabe. For those who aren't familiar, Rich Masterson, he is a big party responsible for the success of the current Permian Basin in Texas, all that oil and gas. Rich Masterson breathed play into the Permian with his discovery of the Wolfbone play, which is an unconventional play in the Permian. And since the Renaissance, the fracking Renaissance happened in 2007, the Permian's been going strong. It's had its ups and downs. 2014 took a big hit for a lot of players, oil and gas players in Texas. There's the 2020 hit again. A lot of players of oil and gas got taken out. But Torchlight did all that they could to hang on. And a lot of people will try and sway your opinion saying that the oil and gas doesn't exist or it's not worth what I'm saying it's worth. But they're not going to throw shade on Rich Masterson. And why would Rich Masterson keep this property around? Why would he be so adamant about this property if there was nothing there? Why would Rich Masterson discredit himself like that? I don't see other people trying to discredit Masterson either. So you might see some FUD out there. You might see some tactics to try and get you to sell. But just remember that. The guy who discovered this, truly, no one's discrediting him or even bringing his name into the equation when they're trying to discredit the oil and gas itself. This property is still being developed. They have to drill wells every year. They're currently drilling 5 wells on the property. They had to drill 5 wells. There's 6 permits filed. That's great. The question is, who's funding this drilling? We don't know. Could be a potential buyer. We're not sure. There's also some infrastructure on the property. There's a 30-inch gas pipeline. There is a 20-inch crude oil pipeline just south of the property, also on university lands, so it's easily accessible, as well as a refinery from El Paso. The El Paso refinery is 44 miles away from the property, which you can get to via the 20-inch pipeline. Both the oil and gas pipeline are owned by Kinder Morgan. So there's a lot going for this property. There's also aquifers on the property. I've done videos. It's called The Secret of the Oro Grande. It's about the aquifers. There's aquifers on this property. So to do any sort of drilling or fracking, you don't have to truck in water. The water is right there on the property. You just drill a well. It's right there. And actually, wells for the water have been drilled. If you look at the permits, they've drilled the wells for the water. That's great. It's all set up. It's set up to be developed.
But that's MMTLP, and I'm very happy right now in the price action today. I was very excited. So far, as Tony said, everybody who's put money into MMTLP has made money so far. We're just waiting it out right now. People ask, well, why haven't shorts covered? Surely they covered. Perhaps shorts were waiting for there to be an announcement of a ticker symbol, which there isn't. Shorts were waiting for SEC to drag this out as long as they can. But now, if shorts start covering, the price is only going to go up even further. There's 165 million shares. Not everybody can trade this either. There's quite a few people who are overseas who can't buy or sell. There's a bunch of people who can only sell their positions. I used to be able to buy this on JP Morgan, and I can only sell on JP Morgan. So I can't buy that anymore. I can only sell it. E-Trade I can buy and sell. So it depends what brokerage you use. Some of them you can only sell. Some of them you can't even buy or sell. You're stuck. Okay, guys, that's it for today. Hopefully we'll see something on the S1 any day. I'll be very happy. Probably won't drink this. I'm not a huge fan of Bakhrovka. But Mr. Bird Lady is. Like I said, I'm more of a Slivovica person. There's a famous Czech poem about Slivovica. Yeah, 1 is prophylactic, 2 is antibiotic. 3 is analgesia. 4 is anesthesia. So that's the famous Czech poem about Slivovica. Okay, guys, I will see you soon. Goodbye.